Hi everyone, today's week 4, day 3. We're talking about an application of the pyramid of care and we apply it to the BAM field. BAM stands for Business as Mission. YWAM would call this Business with a Mission. There is an OM group that calls it Business for Transformation. The BAM or BWAM world is quite large. There are different groups and initiatives that gather under that banner. For example, existing businesses that are run by Christians, Christians working for large corporations, Christian-run organizations who want to franchise into foreign nations. You have startups, both local startups as well as missionaries starting something. You have small and medium-sized business growth. You have investors and business angels, and you have teachings about BAM in churches and agencies and on the field. So this is a broad range, and today I just want to look at the small and medium-sized businesses that are being started by missionaries. There are many nations that are closed to the gospel and closed to missionaries. They have different names like restricted access nations, limited access nations, or creative access nations. So how do you access those nations? How do you get in? By starting a business. That's a common strategy on how to get into a creative access nation or even closed access nations. So from a mission mobilization point of view, yeah, great. What's the problem? So you send out a missionary, they start a businesses, and everything is great. They can do the evangelism, they have a platform there, they get a visa there, and they might even make some money along the way. I started and helped start several of those BAM initiatives, like businesses, branch offices of those business, joint ventures, an association. And I think I have a very good overview of these things, of the dynamics, of the BAM dynamics, and I actually believe I know what I'm talking about here. For the mission agency and the sending church, all of this might make sense, and the church might even have a rich business person who helps the missionary to move overseas to start a business. But the reality for the missionary is very different. First of all, you receive funds to start a business. It's not an investment that you have to pay back. It's donations that help you start a business. That's number one. Then you use that business platform to get a visa. So that's also a tricky thing. You get a visa in order to have access in the restricted access nations. Then you actually have two jobs. You have that platform and you have to run a business, but you also want to do evangelism or church planting or another reason why you are there. You don't create profit like a normal business does. And so for the church back home, you're a missionary, but for the local government, you are a business person. And then after a while, things sort of don't make sense in your own mind anymore because you have to speak two languages. One language is the missionary language and the other language is a business language. And this is when people usually call me and say, Harry, I need help, I need help. I have multiple personalities in me and I desperately need help. Let's move to the pyramid of care and the business person in the middle. And I intentionally start with a recipient because a BAM person is the recipient. And one of the first things you need to know, do you have a calling to be a business person on the field? Do you have that's why I did yesterday's teaching on the calling journey. Because if your calling journey is different to what you are doing now, then you will face many, many problems. I always enjoyed running a business. That's sort of, I guess, part of who I am. But yeah, you cannot fake it. As a business person, it's really challenging to maintain your God relationship. As your business is growing, you might deal with $100 first, and then $1,000, $10,000, $100,000, and all of a sudden, after a couple of years, you are dealing with $1 million, and it's stressful. It's high risk. You have employees. You have responsibilities for. You have liabilities with your customers, and all of a sudden, the stress goes high. And what is quickly gone is your God relationship. I believe the friends and family corner is the most challenging for BAM people because if for those who are married, you move overseas and at home you are sort of equal, but then in the business one is the boss over the other. And so that can create a lot of tension. And if you are hiring people, you hire your local friends and not those who, from a business mind, who fit best into the position. So there are different double agendas there that can really collapse the whole BAM initiative. So what is important is to be professional in your business and at home and with your friends, to clarify expectations and to make that very clear, what is relationship and what is business. Also with your spouse, and then personally to have the right priorities, because business is tough work and can easily wash away your marriage and your family priorities. Let me divide the church corner into the sending church and the local sort of church fellowship. From a sending church point of view, it's often very difficult to connect with you being a missionary and you being a business person. They have a hard time connecting those two. And it can be good to identify 2 or 3 business people in your church back home, in your sending church. It's like this packed team that I shared before, and to have a couple of business people who understand the concept of business and your connection with the local church. I think it's good to find brothers and sisters locally that understand the BAM structure that you set up and understand also the dynamic of the nation that you operate in. And no matter what your job is on the field as a cross-cultural worker, having a sending church that just cares for your well-being, no matter what you do, sort of for your family, for your marriage, for your kids, they just love you and support you. That is just priceless. This is so valuable and so good. So to have that and to maintain that is gold. The People Helper Corner can have many forms for BAM people, and that's usually easy. There are lots of books being written. Sometimes business people come through town and they give trainings, they encourage you. There is online coaching, one-on-one coaching. Some larger cities have Christian business men, women meetings, even local ones. The business person has to surround himself with professional expert. That is very clear to a business person, but if you put your missionary hat on, that's not so clear. A missionary has a board of pastors. A business person has a board of business people. So it is very important you have very good business people, business-minded people who understand finances, accounting, business development, crisis management, risk assessment, and all of these things. Have business coaching. So make sure you surround yourself and you prepare a network of resources that you might need when the going gets tough, when things get difficult. Let me read you from an email I received recently which highlights all of this business owner. As for my experience, I did face quite a few struggles, and I wish I had people who can help me, direct me, whom I could have discussed the issues. I did have 2 good supporters whom I could pray with and shared my struggles, but they were not in the business field. So I was more or less alone to tackle the problem with the Lord, of course. Through this experience, I really experienced that God really knew the business world and He's faithful in caring for me. This is so encouraging that God is faithful in all of our struggles. But let me encourage you to think about how we can build a pyramid of care for the BAM world. They need this. And they need specialists, they need professionals, they need people helpers, they need an understanding church corner that really understands the struggles and can actively and positively support the BAM practitioner. And the resources of friends and family is always a challenge, and that needs to be strengthened as well. So be encouraged. Many member care practitioners also work as business people. So did I. And so we need to understand that and apply all of these principles for ourselves as we run a counseling business maybe. And as we help others in the business field, we need to understand the concept of the pyramid of care for other BAM people. All right, I hope this was helpful for you, and tomorrow we apply the pyramid of care to another group of people. See you again tomorrow. Bye for now.